We used to have a room in Hong Kong where there were 8 of us living in that one room.
No.
If you look at it academically, this is the wrong way to open a business. No business plan, no cash flow forecast, none of this, none of that, nothing. I wanted to go, into a job at the time. I wanted to, work in the city. I was always interested. You can have a set goal or you can have an infinite goal.
Absolutely.
And I think having a set goal is important, because the most important things for me has been YouTube.
Oh, brilliant.
And praise be to the Most High. I wake up every day and I'm so excited about the day and I love it. And
yes, guys, welcome to another episode of LiT Inspiration Takeover podcast. Guys, the laugh. I am so excited today as I have another very special guest who's delighted us, graced us with his presence on the platform. He's an entrepreneur. He's a business owner. He's a good friend of mine and just an all-round brilliant guy. Guys, I reached out to Shaf on short notice, asking him to come onto the podcast as a platform that I'm starting. He didn't hesitate. By the next day, he is here. Guys, the guy's doing bits. But yeah, I'll just let you, Shaf, introduce yourself. Brother, welcome to Let Inspiration Take Over. Feel at home, feel free, and as the saying goes, let's let inspiration take over. Welcome, bro.
Excellent. Thanks, MK. Thanks for having me, bro. I won't say I'm special in any way. I'm just a regular guy that tries hard. So yeah, thanks for having me, MK. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely,
really appreciate this opportunity.
Yes. Would you like to give us a little bit of introduction about yourself? I know I describe you as an entrepreneur and that sort of thing, but for those people that are on the platform that may not know you, what is it you do? Just give us a little bit of a background about yourself.
So it's the main project is Munchies. Munchies started 4.5 years ago. Yeah, and currently we have a store in Darnell in Sheffield, which has been there for 4.5 years. The second store opened just shy of a year ago. That's a 54-seater diner in the city centre. So that opened about a year ago. That's doing really well, actually. And now we're opening our third branch, which is on Halifax Road. Wow. And that's going to be a 12-seater, but the future of food is essentially moving towards delivery anyway.
There you go. Yeah,
it's moving towards delivery. So it's essentially about how optimized your operation is.
Of course.
And what radiuses you can cover. So it's a strategic location for us to be there.
Yeah.
And then with a couple more in the pipeline, which, you guys will see on Instagram.
Absolutely, guys. It's all coming. I've just learned about the third store today. So I was still running behind with the one that you recently introduced. I think that one that you said, the big one in the city centre. So you're telling me about the third one. I was like, bro, you're introducing me. I didn't even know about it. But one of the reasons why I've been quite excited about this particular conversation is because I love food, right? We're foodies in this family, like me, my wife and my kid. And, we eat religiously, right? Another thing is I personally understand that the food business is not easy, because it's a business that I tried to get into myself, and guys, by tried I mean failed. So I think it takes tenacity, it takes strength, and it's something that takes when opportunity meets your needs, perhaps it works out. This is why I'm so keen to perhaps just hear your story, hear your view, hear your points of view on how you've managed to get yourself to where to where you are and that sort of thing, and how you've made it work essentially.
I think MK, if you look at any industry, every industry has its challenges. Whether you're in the podcasting game, gaining traction on YouTube is a struggle, right? It takes time, it takes a lot of effort. If you look at the current people, just randomly on top of my head, if you look at the steel industry right now, if you look at the people that are manufacturing steel, they're facing a huge shortage of staff.
Absolutely.
There's not enough people going into the industry. There's material prices are moving up. So I think think every industry has its challenges, and that's the same with food as well. There's a lot of moving parts. Essentially, you have the staffing element, which can start from you actually finding the personnel that actually want to work in this fast-paced environment, in a busy environment, in a hot environment, actually, in certain instances. And then you've got the sort of management and the emotional side of things as well. How you're managing your leaders and making sure that they are motivated.
Definitely.
But I believe if one applies themselves, and I believe one applies themselves and thinks and understands that this is not a one-man project,
Absolutely.
and understands that it's a team that takes you anywhere, I believe you'll crack anything. And that's the mentality that I've had from day dot, really.
Wow, yeah.
We have had challenging times in early doors, even midway through. So it's quite crazy, because when we opened 4.5 years ago, I was 22. I was university. I just finished university, and it was literally just something that just it was just a spark, and it just kind of happened. But it was never one of those things where like now we may start if we was to like pursue a certain venture, we start off with a vision. We start off with a plan. We start off with where we ideally want this to take us in 5 years' time. Whereas at that time, it wasn't like that.
There you go.
And I think that was because of many things. I wanted to go, into a job at the time. I wanted to work in the city. I was always intrigued by these buildings in London.
I was the same,
Britain.
bro.
Corporate
IBM,
Britain, man.
Do you know the one for me was I was really fascinated about wanting to work for IBM, but go on.
Okay, IBM, man. What a company, man.
Bro,
what a company.
So I thought that was the way to go.
I'm really intrigued by IBM though, because Tom Watson, the CEO of IBM in the 60s, he said something that was amazing. And this kind of helped me a lot. And it's amazing you touched on IBM, because Tom Watson said that when I started IBM, I envisioned how IBM would look when it finished. Bro. I envisioned that there would be sleek looking men with shiny shoes wearing sharp suits, how they would speak, and how they would present themselves.
Okay.
I envisioned the offices. I envisioned how everything would feel, touch, and every aspect of it. And when I heard that, and that's in the book called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, incredible book. And that kind of just allowed me to kind of say, hey, you should dream like that too. You should paint your picture like that too.
There you go.
So, and I think once you know how you should behave, once you know what the end goal is and how it's going to look, because the goal can sometimes be, you see, this is the thing, right?
Seems far.
Yeah, this
and impossible.
Yeah.
Go on,
so, you can have a set goal or you can have an infinite goal.
Absolutely.
And I think having a set goal is important, because you know what you are chasing.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, before you even continue with that story, don't lose your thought. I've been listening to Will Smith's book. I've got the physical book, and I've been listening to his audiobook. And one of the points that he made was the fact that when his dad made him build a wall, right? And he was like 11 years old with his brother. So when the dad set him up that task, it seemed impossible at the time. He was like, what's this man doing, making us build this big wall, and we're kids? It just doesn't make sense. He was whinging and complaining to his dad. And then the dad just kept telling him, he said to him, mate, don't focus on the wall, focus on the brick. So he says, each individual brick, take it, lay it perfectly, come back tomorrow, do the same, and just focus on the brick that you're laying, and don't worry about the wall. And he says a year later, they had a whole 6-foot wall that after he saw that, he was amazed, because he didn't see the vision. He didn't believe in it. But I can guarantee you his dad definitely saw that, but he was trying to teach him the lesson. So he said, once he'd done that wall, the dad said to him, don't you ever come back to me and tell me that there's anything you can't do.
Yes.
There you go.
That is incredible. No, that is genuinely an incredible example. Because if you use the wall and the brick example in Munchies, for example, bro, you can sit there and you can say, hey, I want to open a food business.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that
We're trying to
fantasize
do
about
it.
open a food business.
Absolutely.
People that you'll see, when I'll get into a conversation with someone that's in a totally different industry, there's nothing to do with food. They will have, everyone likes food.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that they can get into that. And you know what? If people apply themselves, they can do that, right? But what makes a business be able to sustain itself and continually improve and continually grow? And grow doesn't always mean what it looks on the cash flow. It doesn't always mean that, right?
What does it mean?
It also means if you're too focused on your cash flow, I believe fully it's the most shallow way of looking at your business.
Okay.
The way to measure success in my way, the way I see it is in a business, right? Measure success within a business is how many leaders are you building?
Right. Wow.
Right?
Never thought about it that way. Yeah.
Now, MK, the reason why I said that and the reason why I believe that down to my core is this. We go into business to scale a business.
There you go. Yeah.
We don't go into a business to replace the boss.
Nope.
Because a lot of people that say, I want to start a business, I want to start a food business, you need to ask yourself, am I coming from a place where I hate my boss and I hate the fact that I have to get up and do 9 till 5 and do a mundane repetitive task? Or am I going into this because I have a vision that I want to push, and a vision which the end goal is to create generational wealth, which then the ones to come will look back and say, hey, look at the legacy our grandfather left us.
Absolutely.
Is it that level or is it not?
Yeah.
Now, for you to achieve anything even close to having a legacy or to have a business of a decent size, you must be able to work on the business.
Absolutely.
Instead of in the business. Now, there's a timing. There's a timing of when that happens. Okay. You can't open a business and walk straight out of it. And there's certain times you might work on and then you'll have to come back in for a little while and go back out.
Yeah.
But working on the business is not sitting in the beach in Zanzibar with your shades on and just enjoying the sun. No.
That's chilling, bro.
That's chilling. That's chilling. Yeah, good point. Working, but it can get mistaken.
I know.
But working on the business is actually more intense than working in the business. It's like the example I always give is, can I pick this plant up?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you was to get this plant, right, and you was to close one eye and you was to get this plant and put it on top of your other eye,
then both
right?
eyes are closed.
Right. So you are so close to it that you can't even see what it is. Never mind how I can improve it.
Yeah.
What my opinion is of this thing. Now, when you step back and you look at it like this, and you think, ooh, do you know what? I don't like this. Maybe it could do with a bit more. Maybe it needs watering, so it'll look better when it's bigger.
Yeah.
You won't even know what to water when you're in the business.
There you go.
And this is where leadership development is so key, because when you're working on the business, the only thing that allows you to do that is so that there's leaders in the business.
There you go.
Right? And if you're in a business of scaling and going multi-unit, you need to have leaders, and you need to have a culture where leaders are constantly bred. Constantly.
Yeah.
That has its own challenges.
Yeah.
But once there is a flow, and once leaders are coming up and there's a sufficient sort of for the scale of the current stage of your business, if there's enough leaders and you can see, that person could be next. That person could be next.
So you're
that person could be next. That person could be next.
There you go.
And you're in a position to be able to give those opportunities what people may go for after they normally get a degree.
Absolutely.
And you're in those sort of positions where you can offer those sort of packages. You look at it and you think, do you know what? We could be onto something here.
Absolutely. And what you're saying there, brother, is sustainable. You see, it's leadership, right? That's not the boss that's a leader. That's a true leader. The vision that you've got is thinking in the long term, whereas most people just think in the short term. Like I can tell you about some experiences of places where I've worked, where I've dealt with people that are thinking they're bosses and they think they're above you. The way they speak to you, the way they treat you is in a way where something is simmering, and I can't wait to leave the place. Sometimes I only put in enough effort to get me through the job. Do you get what I mean? Because I'm just thinking, do you know what? I'm going to be out of here. So the thing that I think about with business like that, I'm thinking you're not going to last very long. How do you build a sustainable business when you don't nurture your people? Not only nurture your people, but nurture the people that actually show promise. The thing that you've said. And there are some people like myself, whenever I'm doing something, I'm committed, I'm putting in my work, but it's easy to get demotivated if you feel like your leader or your boss doesn't reciprocate, or they just don't show you that they care. What I'm thinking is I'm going to go to the next best thing, and I'm actually going to go to a place where I'll feel, appreciated and that sort of thing. But before we jump into that, I know you've just taken us, and inspiration is like the Holy Spirit. It's taken over. You've given so many gems. I'm already loving it, bro, because now I'm just looking at you. I'm also listening. I'm learning. And when I'm learning, I just, I'm a student, right? What I wanted to ask you before we even got to that point to where you can now be building and nurturing leaders and that sort of thing, if you may, for our viewers, if you can take us back to the early days, right? That very first shop. In fact, rather, before we even jump into that one, I want to kind of go into the man a little bit yourself, because the way you speak, bro, you speak with such conviction. You speak like a person that was really raised properly, like certain values, were instilled in you from early, because I feel like there's certain values that you don't just acquire. It's something that has to have come from somewhere, whether it's through your parents that instilled that in you, or perhaps it's through life's lessons. So if you may, perhaps if you could tell us a little bit about your formative years and that sort of thing, your upbringing in terms of how that may have perhaps contributed, to the person that you are, this conviction and tenacity that you have as a person. Yeah, just take us back and tell us a little bit about your upbringing in childhood and that sort of thing. Yeah.
MK, you're getting deep here, bro. You're getting deep.
His inspiration is taking over.
Right. How can I keep this concise? So we were born in Hong Kong, right? And my parents moved there when they were, after marriage.
Okay.
They moved to Hong Kong, and we were, myself and all my siblings were born there.
Brilliant.
And we came to United Kingdom in 2001, right?
Really? Wow.
Yeah, 2002
for me.
2002.
Yes.
Excellent. So 2001 we came here, and in relation to what correlation that may have had with who I am today,
yes,
I would say I always looked at my father, and I looked at him as the most hardworking man that I know, and that I ever and that I till today that I know.
Brilliant.
We were from without going into the whole sort of the whole story. We were in a we used to have a room in Hong Kong where there were 8 of us living in that one room.
No
and
way.
There were no space for my father, so he would actually get a second job at night at a nighttime sort of car lot, so that he could sleep there. Right. So from that, working very, very hard to be able to put us in a position where we came to, United Kingdom. And you know what? I always say United Kingdom is a great country.
Absolutely.
It is. It's a country, apart from the wants, let's just say the wants that we have, like sunshine, like, the great energy in people, that relaxed demeanor, less anger that you may find. Let's say, like, I recently went to Tanzania. So calm people, so
brilliant.
Relaxed,
That's
people.
Africans for you, bro. We're peace loving. We just, we love everyone.
Amazing. And you maybe not see, you probably won't see as much of that here. But it's a great country. So my father was able to bring us here, and great sort of advice and push, and it was always, you need to do this.
Absolutely.
And I would achieve something, and I know he was proud of me, but there was never a well done.
He never told you.
Never a well done. Wow. And I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But I loved that.
Really?
And because of that,
Yeah.
I wanted to do more.
Wow.
And I wanted to do more.
Do you think there might have been other ways in which he showed?
No, I think it's the fact that he spoke to me like an adult. He really and I just look back at what he's done. You know, he was able to. You know, if you look at my father and if you look at what's the word now? Inspiration he's had and what legacy he's left, he was able to bring our entire sort of bloodline into this country. Wow. And even before that, going into like the early 70s, he was able to bring our bloodline from Pakistan into Hong Kong. So he has set up easily like 20 to 30 families that are in developed countries that are moving forward. Now,
say that again, 30
families plus. And that is of course, as offsprings work, it will grow. Now, looking at all that, I always thought that, you know, in gatherings, in certain things, because my father didn't have financial muscle, and he was just a great human. Wow. You're not a great human, like, you know, good at the heart, helped every single person, and a great father. Because of the shallow world that we may live in sometimes, and the shallow environments and the shallow energies that we may be around sometimes, there were times where my father was kind of seen as an underdog. And I didn't like that. And it was just a thing that I observed as a child, like as a teenager, I'd say, as a teenager.
All right. Yeah.
Because once a man retires, you know, from like the distant people, that was the sort of energy that we got. So I never liked that. And I think my tenacity came as a result of, okay, there's been people that have been glorified because they have achieved a certain thing, which I looked at as a child. I would look at their success and I'd be like, whoa, that is amazing. And now I look at it and I add the A, B, C, and D, and I says,
that wasn't even anything.
And I think to myself, right now, especially with the team that I've got around me, if I did A, B, C, and D, I could achieve that by Christmas this year.
By Christmas, this guy.
So, but and I realized how low the bar is actually in general. But because because no one else has ever done it in the whole generation, it was like, oh, let's glorify this guy and this guy because they're doing something amazing. But then they looked at my father as underdog. So that's how that came about. It's literally something I love. And I speak to all these people, by the way. I actually love them as humans, right? I speak to them.
Yeah.
But I like thinking deep into these things in the sense that, hey, I appreciate you for being like that because you was able to give me the energy for me to be where I am.
Amen.
Now, I don't think of this on a daily basis. Matter of fact, the last time I probably thought about this was probably 10 years ago, right? But because now you've touched on it, as we're speaking, and this is the beauty of having a conversation, because whenever two people are speaking, a third brain is born. A third brain is born.
There's something happening. And I love magic. And this is why I said, before you even continue, bruh, I'm just loving this conversation. This is the part why I just love for a conversation to happen, because it will take you to where, well, even with what you're saying, bruh, so much of what you're saying resonates with me and I can relate to, and there's certain points that intersect, but you go ahead, my brother.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm not sure where I left off, but sorry, you're gonna have to jump in. Okay.
No, that's absolutely fine. I was going to ask you a question to say that, do you feel that the treatment of your dad is something that inspired you to want to be better? Perhaps that pushed you to want to go into business for yourself?
No, not at all. Okay. Whatever I've said about that was that.
Right. Okay.
That was that about my upbringing, really. And I guess I also love a challenge. And when I went into business, I realized, hey, this is a challenge, and it was responsibility that was thrown onto me.
There you go.
And it was like I never knew that this was it, and this was the thing, and this may articulate it better, where I didn't think much of this opening a food business. It felt like, or whatever. is, I'm not getting a job.
Different from the job. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I graduated and, from university, and it was like, oh, we're not getting much job prospects. So let's just jump into this business. We had some capital. Let's just jump into it. Right. Okay. We started. From day one, boom. What's going on here? There's queues, there's people, there's all this. I'm like, what?
You better tell me.
We had a team, and it was like staff, and I'm like, shit, and like this is responsibility
and
from
it's
day one.
On. What was your that's the thing? Like, I was gonna ask you, like, what was your expectation of what it would be like running a business before you were actually in it, seeing what was going on? I'd love to hear that that background, perhaps. Before we jump into the comparison, because I know you've now experienced it, you've got all the knowledge of what went on. But as a young man, you're just thinking, I just want to start a business. And as I say, you jumped into the food business, which is very competitive, which is very gruesome. Sometimes the margins are thin. But what was your mindset before you were in the deep, basically?
I laugh at this, right? Because I literally said, right, we're going to do this food thing. And I just went and did it. Like it was like, I never thought of anything big. I really don't know why I didn't even think about what's going to happen on the first day. I mean, like, is there going to be a lot of people? Is there going to be less people? How are we going to manage it? Nothing at all. And I think this, if you look at it academically, this is the wrong way to open a business. No business plan, no cash flow forecast, none of this, none of that, nothing.
But look at where you are, bro.
No staff training, no nothing. Nothing.
Look at where you are. Before you continue, and I don't mean to interrupt your thought, please just remember it. It's to say that you wouldn't, if you hadn't gone through everything that you went through, you wouldn't be here. So for me, I would say I'll go the other side and say sometimes you do have to jump into the deep waters and learn how to swim as you go, because you don't want to drown, brother. Do you get my point? Because everything that you've done, and that's one of the reasons why I really love having you on the platform, comes from a place of there's so many people, young people that are like you, that feel that they can't do it, and they've got legitimate reasons. They've got valid reasons why they feel it's not possible. I'm similar to you in that I came here, as an immigrant. My mom's the one that brought me here. She was a nurse and that sort of thing. She worked hard and she built the foundation. So I believe I've got a responsibility to build on top of what she did. There's something that you mentioned earlier in the conversation when you say that this country is a beautiful country. As much as it might have its quirks, the weather, and sometimes you get miserable people. I feel you get miserable people everywhere. But I've been here so long that I now love it. And I feel like being here is a choice. I want to be in Britain, or else I would be living somewhere else. But one of the things that we do have here that other places don't have is opportunity. Correct. And I genuinely believe that if you put your head down, if you work hard enough, if you put some money away, if you seek the knowledge, especially with the technology that we have now, there's so much I get done using my phone. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. My whole job that I do now, without this phone, I can't do the job. It's my job, it's my home, it's my communication. There's so many things that are here now that can really help you get ahead as a person that wasn't there before. So the one thing that I will say, or one of the things that I will say about Britain is it's definitely the land of opportunities, right? And if you seek it hard enough, if you work hard enough, you can actually get to where you're looking to get and that sort of thing. So yeah, taking it back to say that I love your story and your journey, particularly because you are a person that reminds me very much of myself. When I see you, I'm like, I was once where you are. When you tell the stories that you tell, I can relate to them vividly. And I know there'll be people out there, there'll be young people that can also relate. This, guys, Shaf, you've been preaching. I'm preaching in that if he can do it, you can do it too. You're giving gems, like free gems on this podcast of how it can be done. It is possible. And with more stories that will come, that's the one thing that the message that I want to radiate, to say that you can come from the lowest and you can come out above and that sort of thing. But yeah.
Okay, just to add to your point though, I think you've dropped an amazing point there. Mm-hmm. We live in a time where there is more opportunity now than there ever was in the history of man.
Ever.
Right? Yeah. And testament to that is look at the rate of change that's happening now, right? You know, smartphone was not even around 15 years ago. What is it, 20 years ago or so?
Oh yeah,
it wasn't even around, and before that, it's just developing at such a rate. And if you look back on history, it was not developing at this rate.
Nope.
History repeats itself, of course. Hence, look at all the politically these things happen. These are following trends that happened before and before.
Of course, that's the world. That's a whole another podcast.
Whole another podcast. Yeah, absolutely. Before we go into the whole China stuff,
I know. No. we'll leave that out for now. But
we don't want to go into that.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
But opportunity-wise, this is we're in a blessed land where it's endless opportunity, and I think. You know, we have the biggest devil, and we also have the biggest companion in our pockets.
Amen. The phone.
Now, if
distraction, or it can be a tool.
If you can, for example, you use TikTok, you use Instagram for your business, it will exponentially help marketing side to grow.
Indeed.
You sit down and you just watch these people dance on TikTok, and you're losing your life.
Trust.
Right? You know, you're not killing time. Time's killing you.
There you go. Brother, you better say that again.
And
yeah.
It's just one of those things where work hard, and I know that's just one of those things that can be it's just
misconstrued.
You know, it's one of those things that's said a lot. But if you have time, let me just put it this way: if you are, let's say 19, 20, 21, right, and beyond, but from that age, if you have Saturdays and Sundays off, and you do nothing, and I'm telling you right now, you're behind, because I have met many youngsters, 20, 21-year-olds, and people up to my age, at the age of 27, right? The winners, the people that are winning, and the people that will win, that are even starting off. These guys are 19-hour days daily.
Amen.
Right? Well, the only thing that gives them the rest and gives them their mind to be able to have that sort of mental stamina to continue is the passion and how badly they want it. Now, don't jump into business and try to wing it. Don't do that. Right?
Learn, take time.
Ask yourself, how badly do you want to do this? If you're not going to be able to persevere, the amount of time, MK, I'm sure you must have seen it, the amount of times I've seen businesses start, and then you speak to somebody, hey, what happened? You speak to them a year later.
Something happened. Elon Musk said, what encouragement, somebody asked him a question, I think it was on an app called Clubhouse Kids, what encouragement would you give to young entrepreneurs that want to be in entrepreneurship? And he goes, if you need encouragement, don't be an entrepreneur. That's what he said. Correct.
Yeah. Correct. Absolutely. And it's like win at all cost.
Exactly.
Win at all costs.
Yeah. But nobody's going to support you. Nobody's going to come with you. And I'm leaving it, right? That's the journey I'm leaving. And I know, hold on to your point, but I want to quickly add to say that there's something profound that you say to me. I think it was a couple of months ago when we went to an event. Yes. I think it was one of our friends, Christian, I think he was fighting. I think it might have been Ice Fight. I'll be having him on as well. Like, he's recently a dad. Yeah. I'll be a dad very soon. But one of the things that you say to me, and I was telling you about Raw Express, and I was whinging about, oh my God, this is not working out and things like that. And you said, what are you doing? Okay, but you were very calm and very, I think there was a sense of profoundness. You say to me, bro, listen, even if you just do one thing a week towards your business is something. And you went, instead of just sitting there, just make sure that at least you're doing something each week that ensures that you're growing towards your business, right? Pandemic happened. I'm not even going to lie. There was a period of time where I got demoralized and, just started Netflix and telly. I let myself go. Right? Yeah.
That happens.
I let myself go a little bit. And with that business, I was like, I discovered, okay, maybe I don't have as much passion for it as I thought, as you said, because it's tough and it really takes a certain level for you to be able to get it done. And then I got into podcasting, right? So when I got into podcasting, because as you can tell, I talk a lot. It's something that I discovered that I loved. I was doing it, Zoom and all these stuff using whatever equipment I could use because I thought, expensive equipment, man, that's long, and I feel like sometimes in our community, that's the mentality that we have. We feel that anything that takes effort is long. I've seen people do things, they're producing products. I'm like, you are so talented, you could do so much better, but they just choose not to, and I don't understand. Whereas I see other communities, the way they do their things is so impressive and it's so respectable. And I say to myself, I had to take it back, and I was like, I remembered your words, and I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to put everything on hold because I know the kind of product that I want. I know the kind of respectability I'm trying to get. I am just going to do my research. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to buy one thing a week until I get to where I need to get. And one of the first things I had to do was to get a specific job that would allow me to get a certain level, of funds so that I can still balance out, because I'm a family man. I've got bills to pay and all this other stuff. So balance out the family, but also be able to buy my equipment, right? So that's how I ended up, I'm delivery guy for Amazon.
Yes.
It's a graft. It's one of the hardest jobs I've ever done. It was really difficult to get into it. I had my challenges. The people that work there will tell you. I've settled in now, but it was the fact that it tied into everything that I was looking to do. And I understood that the only way I'll be able to get to where I'm looking to get is to do this job. So that job fuels what I'm trying to build here. But what I'm trying to build here, as you said before, I have a vision, which is like in my head, I know exactly what the vision is. I speak to my wife about it and I've seen it. Because I've seen it, I now can't let go of it. I'm infected by the vision of how I want to elevate the platform. So initially I was like, man, I'm just going to buy some cheap podcasting microphone. Something came to me and said, no, that's not you, bro. I'm like, but if I have to get the expensive, that means I can't buy that. I said, no, bro, that's not you. Yes, get them one by one. And literally for 6 months, one microphone, one stand, one thing, one light, one this, one that. And it was off the back of something that you say to, I'm not just saying this to you to gush you up, bro. This is true. And it's off the back of something that you said, where you said and say, if you're serious about it, then get it done, even if it's little. Because now, when people come and they're seeing the platform, I've recorded about 2-3 episodes, and the other gentleman, Mr. Chili Shop, was telling me, he's like, wow, bro, your setup, it's serious. I was like, what? I'm not even done yet, right? And then I was like, yeah, and it's taken me a while, but I was talking casually about it like it's something simple. But to me, I'm passionate and it's really important because I decided, okay, if this is what I'm going to do, then I need to take it seriously.
Correct.
And I need to show, and I need to do the graft, and I need to get the things that I need to get for it to come out the way I wanted to, as opposed to me just getting whatever it takes in order to put something out, because that's what that's what, and this is not talking down to people or anything like that, but it's coming back to the points that you've made to say that if you really want to do something, if you really want to elevate, it's possible.
Correct.
Bruh, the last couple of months are living proof of your words. I never thought, here where we are. If you'd asked me a couple of months ago, I'd have just laughed at you. If you told me I'd have blah, blah, and would be recording the podcast at the level that we're doing, I'd have just laughed at you. What? Where's that going to come from? How's that going to work? Like, I can't see it working. But then you listen to people like Will Smith, you listen to people like yourself, who talks about the brick, you talk about the vision, he talks about the wall. And it's like, I wrote to myself, do you know what? Brick by brick, I am going to build this thing one brick at a time. For me, I am an impatient person. I'm a person that loves for things to just work together at once. So this has been such a lesson to me in patience. Like, I'm just like, I just want to get on with it, and I wanted to all come to, but I've just had to be patient. But at the same time, the thing that you said as well, to say that the people that are ahead are people that are constantly multitasking. That's been me. When I'm not working at work, I'm working now. This is my day off. I'm doing this. When I'm at work, I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to audiobooks that are growing me. I my research is I'll listen to other people, how they do it, how are they elevating, what is it they do, and I'll pick up certain little things. But then that's the beauty of the job that I do, because it allows me to be like, to have the time, because I'm just doing whatever I'm doing. So I can be listening to music, not music, like podcasts, audiobooks. I love audiobooks. And I love podcasts. So I'm working whilst I'm working, but there's never really idle time where, because I'm doing the job, I can't do it. No, I'm like, how can I utilize my time? Right. My empty times, I'll be writing down notes. Okay, how do I do? How do I move forward? And that sort of thing. So yeah, I know I've gone on, that's sort of a bit of a tangent, but it's just telling you to say that, bro, a lot of what you're saying really resonates with me in a practical manner, because I am living, the advice that you're giving. A lot of what you're saying, I am living it, and I'm realizing that it is possible, but it's not easy.
It's not easy. And what one thing that you're doing, and one thing that entrepreneurs do is be patiently impatient.
Absolutely.
Where you really need to get to your next step, and you're pushing and you're doing everything to get to your next step.
Yeah.
But in that, you need to remain composed, and you need to strategize step by step. Every step needs to be strategic.
That's a fact.
And that's where the patience come in. But in your mind, you're trying to be impatient. It's about balancing that, and that's the
the ideas, and
that's the constant conflicts that entrepreneurs go through, and that's the conflict that essentially leads to certain sacrifices that entrepreneurs have to make.
And that again.
And I believe with everything in life, if there's a certain gain, there's a certain trade-off.
Absolutely.
Every single thing is a transaction.
There is no other way around it. Yeah.
If you want to, and as entrepreneurs, when we try to pursue something and achieve something, it's not easy.
No.
It requires blood, sweat,
and tears,
and consistency.
Facts.
And when there's consistency, your mind is always thinking at the cost of certain what the society would deem and what life would deem as the normal things. Now, many entrepreneurs will have, relationship difficulties. Many entrepreneurs will have health difficulties. Many entrepreneurs will have many things that there's a trade-off. There's a trade-off, a social life. Many entrepreneurs will start off with an amazing social life before entering business. They go into business. They realize, hey, my whole vision's changed now.
Yeah.
There's a whole trade-off there. They don't see their friends anymore. They don't see this anymore. They don't do the things they enjoy anymore. And then it takes a lot of time, a long time for you to come back around and to say, right, okay, now I need to prioritize my health. Now I need to start doing this. Now I need to start getting
friends.
Exactly.
You're right.
But there is a trade-off and there is a sacrifice. Yeah. And this is the fine line. And this is why I never say to people, that, hey, get into entrepreneurship. I never push that because there is a trade-off.
There is.
Now, how can I say to somebody, hey, get into entrepreneurship, but that will mean they'll probably see their parents less. That will probably mean there'll be a certain hit with their social circles and certain friends that depend on them mentally, right? There'll be a certain hit on them. It's a really personal thing, and it's a path that you kind of have to take alone.
Absolutely.
It's a journey where there's people, there's acquaintances, there's loved ones, but truly the conversations you kind of have within your own head is something else. However, it's always about the journey.
Facts.
That's the key thing. Yeah. Like, and praise be to the Most High. I wake up every day and I'm so excited about the day and I love it. And the thing is, now
that's great.
Now we've got to a stage, believe it or not, because I have such an amazing team of leaders, such an amazing team of staff. But that's testament to the leaders that I have around me. Yeah. These guys are incredible, absolutely incredible. The people that manage London Road, manage Darnell, and manage the stores that are to come as well. These guys they are incredible. I forgot my trail of thought. What was I saying?
You're saying you've got such amazing leaders.
Yeah,
they're the ones that are helping you to manage everything.
And before that,
my memory is terrible.
This is the thing, because I'm so thankful to these guys. I'm just like I really delved into that. Yeah. I really forgot that, mate. You're gonna have to just put in that, mate.
No, that's absolutely fine. But we can pick up. From that. What I was going to ask you as well is to take us back, right? Obviously, now this is the evolved Shaf that you are and everything that you're saying in the gems. If you take us back to Munchies 1, that sort of thing, so you getting started and that sort of thing, the early days of the business, the things that you were learning and that sort of thing. Yeah, if you could tell us a little bit about that.
I think when we started, I can remember the first day it opened, everyone's like, oh, what goes in this burger? What goes in that burger? And I'm like, bloody hell, I forgot to train everybody. I didn't even train anyone. And it was just pretty catastrophic, really, where everyone's waiting like an hour and a half for their food.
Bro.
And then, you know, business was good. Business was booming. It was okay. Everything was good. And then business took a dip a year down the line. Took a dip, and it was a tough time. It was 14 months of practically zero profits at all. Everyone's still getting paid, by the way. I mean, staff. Obviously, just myself kind of taking the hit. But no one needs to know that at that time, and that's part of entrepreneurship. Oh yes, no one needs to know that.
Everyone thinks everything is roses, but you're finding a way to make it work. Yeah,
correct. It's totally different behind the curtain. So, and then eventually we kicked it off again, and what really helped us kick it off is I did a bit of self-discovery. I went away, went alone, went to Monaco. I was there, you know, just alone on a bit of a self-discovery journaling sort of trip. That really helped. Really helped discover. I came back, make some radical changes, reduce, you know, got rid of certain people. But you know, this is the thing. You know, when people say sacking people or getting rid of people, you know, one of the best things you can do for somebody is get rid of them.
Absolutely, it's a necessity.
Because if you're not excelling at this role, you're as a leader, you're doing them a favor by saying, "Hey, you are not at your best here. Go find something which works best for you."
Bro, I got sacked once. Guess what I did?
What did you do?
When I enrolled to college to go to uni. Because I was so annoyed and I was so angry that I got sacked on a whim. I said, I'm going to go to uni. I'm going to go study business management to make sure that nobody ever feels that they can easily suck me like that again, so that I'm in a job. But even if they do, I can just find another job easily. And I did. That wasn't the only reason I went to uni, but it really woke me up. The thing that you've just said there, where it's like, sometimes you feel that you're doing somebody disservice, but you're actually doing them a favor, because it will force them to self-reflect on how do they get better, what do they do. So that literally happened to me, and it's a true story.
Absolutely.
Got sacked, and that woke something up for me to feel, okay, let me go to uni, let me go study business, and here we are
absolutely
now.
Absolutely. So then we kind of had to make those sort of personnel changes in the business, reduce the opening time so we can be more focused. And then since then, I realized the importance of personal growth and personal development. And I think without constant personal growth and personal development, you will, I can almost guarantee you will not remain competitive for long.
That's facts.
And I believe, this is just my opinion, only my opinion. You know, you hear the stats that most startup businesses, you know, don't last the first year, and then 80% of them don't last over 5 years.
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years, or whatever the stat is. I believe that if you was to delve into the leaders of those companies and ask how many of those how many hours did you guys actually give, and how much severity did you actually see to your own personal development and personal growth, how many books did you read, how many podcasts did you listen to, how many habits did you change within your life which would optimize the way you think, and I guarantee that stat is caused by people's lack of looking inside.
That's a fact. Self-reflection. I'm big on that, bro.
Absolutely. So when I started doing that, and then, you know, the proof was in the pudding, and then things started getting better and better and better. But hey, look, one thing I have to say is we're humans, and we make mistakes, and sometimes, you know, there has to be certain mistakes take longer to learn than others. And I think one mistake I did have, one thing that I did have before, I was very hot-headed, and that was bad.
Oh, is it that you thought you knew it? Oh, no, you felt that you didn't want help.
Do you know, now when I reflect, it's because I didn't know enough.
Oh, bro. And that's only in 2020 vision, hindsight 2020. So as they say, You see,
look, you see, like now when I look back and I think, why was I angry in that situation 2 years ago? Why was I angry in that situation 2 years ago? It's because I didn't have an answer.
There you go.
Now I can deal with a certain difficult situation. Listen, I'm still learning. Okay, and I'm still a student of the game, and I'm very early on, very early on. Like what is this? It's only been 4 years, 4.5 years, man. I'm still a baby. right? I'm still in my infancy.
Baby, you're like a strong baby.
No.
You're like Arnold Schwarzenegger, baby.
No. I'm still
baby, let's take amazing things, bro.
I'm still in my infancy, absolutely. And it's because that you have invited me here and we're having a conversation on camera.
Of course.
But on my day-to-day, if I'm speaking to anybody, I'm just trying to pick their brains so that I could learn something I don't know that they know. And especially when I see somebody that is thriving in their life, they know something I don't.
Absolutely.
I want to know that. I'm only hungry for knowledge. That's all.
Grow, bro.
I don't have anything to do with your car, your finances, your anything. I don't want nothing to do with all that. Teach me something you know that I don't. That's all.
Do you know that? Shaf, bro. This is inspiration taking. What you're saying now applies to other areas as well. That mentality, that humility, bro. You are going to go far. The young man I interviewed about 2 weeks ago, and I spoke to him. He said a few things, and I proclaimed to him, I blessed on his life. I said, brah, you're 19. You're going far in life. The way he thinks, his mantra, his ethics. I'm like, that young man, I am telling you now, I don't know what it is. He's going to become later on in life. He's authored a book at 19 years old called Inspired. Everything. I was like, he's going far. It's because of the way he speaks. He said a few things. Same thing, bro. I'm the same as you. I am a constant student. I'm a constant learner, and I love to learn. I love to hear. I love to hear from elders. I love to hear from the people that have done it better than me. I love to hear even YouTube videos. I watch people that will tell me about lighting, they'll tell me about sound, that know better than me, and I constantly want to be learning. So what I was going to say is that mentality that you've got, everything that you've said screams sustainability, nurturing your people, grooming leaders, having a mind to learn, knowing that you are at early stages, knowing that it's going to take time for you to get to a stage where you can say, I've really done it, all screams sustainable. You're going to be in this for long because you're not getting gassed up by your own success. And the people that get too gassed up too early are the ones that burn out quickly. I'll tell you this, even with this thing that I've started, I was saying to somebody to say, for me, I'm in no hurry. I'm in no rush. I want organic growth. I want an organic approach because that's better. I don't want to be a fast burning fire. I want to be a slow burning fire. So in the early days, I'm going to make mistakes. Some of the things I'm not going to do right. Something might not sound right, but the key thing is to improve from my mistakes, to learn better, to grow, and to seek feedback as well from people.
Okay. If you're not making enough mistakes, are you working enough?
Exactly.
Are you?
How do you know to make it better if you're not making mistakes?
Exactly. You know, everyone's path is not scripted. You know, if there was a book, right? If there was a book that told us these are the steps to success. Follow 1, do this today, do that. No, there's nothing like that. That tells you exactly what to do every single day. There's nothing like that. You know, it's not like an IKEA furniture you're trying to build, right? You have to make mistakes, and those mistakes guide you. And I believe, you know, if you delve into your subconscious, right, and you have to kind of look at what your perspective is of the word mistakes, or how you perceive a mistake that happens in front of you. Now, the way I see it is, you know, there's many mistakes that I've made, many, and I still make them till today.
We all do, bro.
I thrive off them. I absolutely thrive off them.
Even as a married man, I understand I'm not perfect in marriage, and I've been married almost 4 years. I said, bro, what do I know about marriage?
Absolutely.
What can I teach anyone about? But anyway, go on.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when a mistake happens, it's like, okay, that mistake cost
X.
Let's say £5,000. Let's just use that amount. Let's say this mistake cost me £5,000. It's £5,000 saved from the future. How big is my vision? Yes. My vision is to do this so many more times. Yeah. You know what? It was worth learning. Yeah. It was
that 5,000 might have saved you 25,000.
It could have saved you millions.
Absolutely.
Right? And with every action, there is always a degree of actions around it that's helped.
That is fact.
So when you kind of improve one area, a lot of things improve around it. Just for example, you improve your health. Let's just say, right? And this is just an example. Let's say if you was to, you know, take up the gym and you started going to the gym and you started waking up early and you started going to the gym and you started exercising. You started taking off you started taking bad things out of your diet. You just started kind of just sorting that bit out, right? It doesn't, the direct variable is not just your weight, okay? Nope. You look at the way your cognition changes when you start changing up what you put inside your mouth, bro, right?
You better say that again.
It will absolutely change your life. It will absolutely change your life.
Do you know what happened to me when I changed my life and I went vegan? There was a time where I was working out and everything. Guess what happened to me? I found my wife.
Excellent. Wow.
My mind.
How did you do that?
My mind. Well, it's not because of going
vegan. Guys, go vegan and you will find your wife. You heard it from MK.
But you know, from what you're saying, right? Like in that, I'd never been better in my life. I was healthy. I was radiating. My mind was more clearer than it's ever been. So when I was approaching this woman, I had clarity that I'd never had before. Where I wasn't scared she was going to reject me or whatever. I went to her with such confidence. So, you were saying your cognitive improves, the way you think, the way you move, and it radiates and it shows and everything else. That's exactly what happened to me,
MK,
brother.
MK. Along with all that,
yeah,
you start having respect for yourself.
Facts.
And you must have respect for yourself.
There's no compromise.
You must.
That's a fact.
And if you can if you can willy-nilly, wake up like, nah, I can't be bothered for today. Let me just stay in bed. Or nah, let me just watch this Netflix series and binge watch it. And let me put my responsibilities aside.
The day is lost.
Or I've got this vision that I really want to do, but do you know what? That can start later. That can start after this. And you're always coming up with all these excuses. How can you be proud of yourself, bro?
Yeah, it's cumulative as well. You see, those little things, they add up. It'll be today, it'll be tomorrow. But if you count them through the year, it's like there's a rule of, I don't know if you've heard of this, the rule of marginal gains.
Okay.
Right? I think there's a book about it, but There's a rule, you should look into it. Rule of marginal gains, which says incremental things, the little things that you do, habits. There's another book that I listened to, audiobook, Atomic Habits. If you haven't yet heard it or read it, let me recommend you to do it. And it also talks about this whole rule of marginal gains in that there's small things that you either do right today, add up to the larger goal, or also the negative way, the small things the thing that you said, today Netflix, today KFC, today beer and whatever. If you look at the year, it all accumulates to a huge negativity. So in the moment, it may not seem like it's a big thing, but it all adds up to one giant and whatever.
You are your habits.
Facts.
Right?
That's a fact.
End of story. Once upon a time, you are your habits, end of story. That is it. You are not this, you are your habits.
Yep.
If your habits are winging it and inconsistent, that is who you are.
Simple.
Okay? Yep. And look, this is the thing that we suffer with right now, right? And I believe social media has something to do with this as well. We look on social media and we see
comparison.
We see youngsters, right, that are doing amazing and they're flashing off with all these materialistic things. And what that has done is it's made our generation suffer with mental myopia.
Fact.
And mental myopia is when we just think, okay, it needs to happen now.
Yeah. Because Shaf's doing it, I should do it too. Wait, he came in a milk. Where's my milk?
Exactly.
Right.
But things cannot happen now. It has to be incremental. And this is back to your point.
Yeah.
If you understand that the now means
for later.
Let me start my incremental work. Okay. It has to be step after step after step after step after step. And suddenly it leads to something
absolutely
beautiful.
And you know what the problem is, Shaf? A lot of people are not honest. And that's partly why I've started this platform, because I want people like yourself that can come on and be honest with people. Yes, you're successful, but there's a trade-off, something that you said, like there is no substitute for hard work. There is no substitute for sacrifice. There is no and I had to learn that the hard way myself. I was like, bruh, sometimes it feels difficult. Sometimes it feels like just giving it all, like, how, but I'm doing everything right. Why is it not working out? And I'm like, that's it. That's the journey. That's part of entrepreneurship. But the society we live in now, everyone lives on based on seeing what somebody else has. they want it too, but they don't want any of the responsibility. They don't want any of what goes into it. It's kind of like when they say like people don't want to see how the sausage is made. They want to eat the sausage, but they don't care about how it's made. Nah, bruv. You need to listen to the people that are doing it and the things that they've got in order for you to structure and to be realistic about your own goals. That's the only way that you will get to where you're trying to get. But a lot of people are now in a mode where they will show you all the best bits of their life, or they're even relationally. I will show you the best bits of, oh, my child, oh, smiling, oh, me and my wife, oh, 4 years. But I laugh with my wife. I'm like, boo, I was asking her, I was like, boo, if you knew what marriage was, would you have decided? And she just laughed. And I was like, exactly. I understand why she laughed. I laughed too because, bruh, marriage is a challenge. That's why it's called a relationship. You learn to relate to each other. And this is not to take away from the entrepreneurship and business, but that's what it is. There's so much involved that if people were to be genuinely honest about it, you realize it takes a lot. It takes putting in. It's like a plant. You water it and you learn from it. It's not perfect, right? You will have things, you will have arguments, you will have this, but then it's like, how do you relate? Yeah. How do you move past that? And I feel like that's the same thing with business, that's the same thing with an entrepreneurship journey. Of course, it's going to be hard. Of course, you're going to face challenges. Of course, there'll be times where people will say no to you that you think will say yes. There are times where it's like, I reach out to a person where I'm like, bro, I've shown them the set. I have made my proposal and this person just has to say yes. And they say no. And I'm like, what? But it sounds perfect. And I've done everything. And I've been, but that person doesn't see the vision or for whatever reason, they've just, no. It's a no from them. And that's what it is. And you deal with that. You pick up, you move on. And the yeses that you get, and I said, you get yeses from unexpected places. People that are busy like yourself, bro. I'll be honest with you. When I reached out, I had no expectation. I'm just shooting my shot. You're a busy guy, even with everything that you're doing. So even if you'd said you couldn't come, I would have understood. I got a yes from you. Ideally, if you told me no, I'd have been like, yeah, Shaf's busy. He's got everything else. But it's a yes. But I can guarantee you somebody who's not as busy as you or who feels whatever, and I'll reach out and I'm thinking it's a home run, they'll just say no. And sometimes no's are hard to get. And I've said for myself, that's something that I need to work on to deal with, because I understand that the journey that I'm embarking on is one where it's not everything is going to be the way that I want it. It's not every time that everyone is going to accept. Not everyone is going to see the vision. Sometimes things just do not work out the way you want to, and you have to find a way to deal with it. You have to find a way to persevere. You have to find a way to keep going for as long as the goal is at the forefront of everything that I'm doing. Coming back to the point that I told you about Elon, when he said, if you're looking for encouragement, don't be an entrepreneur. Now it makes sense, because oftentimes it's a thing that you're going to have to decide, something that you want to do, you're willing to go into it, and there's no one that's going to be babysitting you, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, touching on the point of you telling me you asking me to come here, I want to help. Right?
Absolutely, brother. And I appreciate that.
And I think you can always learn. And this is the beauty of conversations. And I think, the more you have a conversation with your Instagram screen, the more brain dead you'll go.
Absolutely.
And the more you can have conversations with like-minded people, you can really, really elevate your thinking.
Absolutely.
However, on that note, I can honestly say, and honestly, I believe this down to the core. If YouTube, no, let me put it differently. I'd say YouTube has been the single most important thing, probably in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
In your life? Bro, go on, break it down.
I'd say so.
We like a breakdown.
I'd say so.
In what way? In what way?
I'd say one of the biggest impacts that on me, on myself, one of the most important things for me has been YouTube.
Oh, brilliant.
Has been YouTube. I definitely say that, and I say that because I'd say I learn better in consuming what I can hear.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
More so than what I read. And the amount of content that's on there is
amazing,
incredible.
right?
It's incredible. The access you have, the sort of channels and the sort of as long as they're correct. Like I said, with whatever's online, it has the world on there. That's
Absolutely.
the world. And what it's done is accelerated our access to that information.
It has, yeah.
Now you can watch the things that may not benefit you.
Yeah.
Or you can watch things that benefit you, right? And the things that make you tick. And what I've found is that by constantly consuming a podcast and consuming people's sort of stories over music has been the thing that has helped shaped my mindset. Yet, there's nothing like being in the presence of a successful person and just picking their brains. There's nothing like that. There's absolutely nothing. So whenever that opportunity presents itself, where I'm around such individuals, I'm onto them. I'm onto it.
Absolutely, bro.
I'm onto it.
Yeah, I'm the same, similar to you. Like audiobooks, podcasts have been an absolute blessing to me. I was telling you where I listen to them. I listen to them even when I'm working. I will listen to them when I'm chilling. So my downtime, I will listen to them more than I do, with music and that sort of thing. And I'm finding that it's occupying more and more of my time. But in terms of actually speaking to people that are doing it, that's something that I have to do. So my wife actually recommended, she was like, you know what, bro? If you're to find the guests that you want, the quality guests, because I say to you, like, I'm on elevating, I really want to speak to the kind of minds that teach me. Like today, I know for a fact that I've been blessed. I've learned so much hearing your story, hearing your journey and the gems that you've given. When I'm learning, I know that the listeners are also going to be learning. That's what I love.
Thank you.
Whenever you see this big smile, like I've got dimples, right? So when the dimples come out,
shout out dimples.
Listen, when the dimples come out in the podcast, I just do this goofy smile. Then something is happening, something I'm learning, and I love to learn. Mind you, I'm a kid that never used to like learning. Like there's a time where I didn't want to go to school. I told you I went to uni because I got fired. I hated uni because I just thought I wasn't good at school, initially, and bad experience, that sort of thing. But now I love learning. So one of the things is I want to be speaking to people that are doing it, even in this field of podcasting, because I'm going to take this as serious as a heart attack. So the people that are doing it, how they're elevating, even if they're younger than me, I want to hear what they know, because I know they've got a world and a depth of knowledge that I do not have, because I've only just started this and I don't have the experience and practicality. Yes, I've done the research for however long. Yes, I've got this equipment, but I still don't know.
Absolutely.
What do I know? Yeah.
And I think, okay, okay, we're here now. We've shared some amazing sort of ideas and energy across both of us today. But when I'm alone, and I'm with myself, I look at myself and I think, I don't know nothing.
There you go, brother.
Absolutely nothing, right? And I love that. And I just love to live like that. That fact that I don't know anything. And the fact that all I want is to be able to learn and thrive off learning.
There you go.
Now, I don't know the psychology behind it. I don't know the psychology behind why a person may want to learn and why other people may not see learning as so important, right? I don't know. Right? I don't know. There may be many things. There may be a vision that drives them. Okay, what brings a vision into a human being? This is a whole different topic, right? But for me, it's like, hey, I don't know anything. When I speak to a person, when I speak to a success story, I try to be able to ask questions where I can validate for them that it's worth their time.
There you go.
Right? That's important. Yeah. Because I think like sometimes, like, especially when you start coming into contact with really successful people, you kind of like, you could ask some dumbass questions. Bruh. And that's the thing. They'll just shut you off.
Do you think so?
They will. Because the thing is, it's like, why should I reveal my energy, right, and give you that energy? Because these are just words. These are just words, right? The energy that comes from it. Why should I reveal that if the question, if they've disrespected me by asking such a stupid question, right? And this is the thing, and when I say, there's a concept saying, there is nothing stupid, but you can go to a success person and be like, so what's the secret to success? Right? You can
Yeah.
And this is the thing. And
Yeah.
but if you ask more precise questions, more sort of more what's the word now? More targeted questions, right?
Yeah, there you go.
But for you to be able to be even qualified to even ask those questions, or even be able to think about asking those questions and be able to ask those questions, you need to be able to doing something in your life.
Exactly.
Right? So if you are still doing nothing really, and you're still having those sort of personal issues, which you can't get off the couch, you can't wake up on time, you don't have that sort of discipline to work hard, you don't have that discipline of consistency, then don't even think about, okay, I need to network and I need to speak to that. No, sort yourself out first. Because right now, the battle is between you and
yourself. Brother,
Period.
That's the title of the podcast right there. The battle is between you and yourself. How you said that so sick, bro. Wow. And this is why I say this. I'm big on homework. In school, when I was in primary school or whatever, I used to hate homework. Oh, why do they give us work? Now I realize in anything you do, homework is big, bro. Whether it's in work, whether it's in podcasting, whether I had to do my homework. Okay, check. Okay, are the lights correct? Okay, Shaf is coming. What can I look into? What kind of conversation? You have to do. So if you're going to a network event or wherever, and you know they're going to be people that are big and better than you or whatever it is that you think, if you've done your homework, you will have that profound question to ask. You will ask him the right things because you've done the things that you needed to do before you got there. You didn't just get there on a whim and you're acting nonsense, right? And a lot of people don't think about this in anything you do, brother. Whether it's marriage, relationship, family, homework is a part of life. And now I love it. Before, I just used to think, what's the point of why do you make us go home and do this stuff? And why do you make us do research in uni? And I'm discovering in this field that I love so much, research is a part of it.
Correct.
If you don't do your research, you look crazy.
Correct.
You can't have a flowing conversation.
Correct.
You can't be intuitive. And the things that will be missing. So, and you do homework beyond what you feel is required, beyond what you feel is needed, just so that if you get it wrong, you've got something else to jump to. So the thing that you said, let's say, for example, you've asked a question, maybe you've missed, there's something else because you've done your homework, you've done your background. And I'm sure you can probably touch on this to say in everything that you've done to bring your business, where you are, you've had to do background, right? You've had to do your homework and you've had to do your research and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. I think, especially right now, the most important work is done before the stores even open. Simple. Right? The operation is just what the customer sees, but the work, the hours and hours that goes in behind the scene is bonkers. And before, in early doors, in setting up as well, the most important work was done not in times of operation. It was done in thoughts and in conversations outside. Absolutely.
That is where it can be done. It can't be done in time. It's like trying to study for an exam whilst you're writing it. That's not going to happen, is it? That's not possible. So the only way you can properly study for an exam is if you do it outside exam hours. You get yourself ready so that when it comes out, it all looks great. It all looks simple. And people just love the aesthetics and they see great things. And they're not realizing that in the background, there's a whole engine. Yeah. There's a whole lot of things going on to make it happen and to get there,
Absolutely.
But yes,
Absolutely,
brother.
Man.
I was saying, I could speak to you all day, bro. There've been so many gems, so many things we've spoken about. I've said this in another podcast before where I had a set of questions. I was like, okay, I've got 10 questions. I'm gonna ask Shaf. Okay, childhood. Okay, the first restaurant. What happened? I throw that all away, not because I'm not trying to get a coherent conversation, but because we let inspiration take over. And that's what the podcast is. I love inspired conversations. And, I've said this before as well to say, I actually learn better when two people are speaking and magic is happening. Where there will be 2, 3 or 4 points that I'll pick up on, that's when I learn better. But if it's a thing where it's like, where we're trying to make it happen, I'm asking you questions and I get bored and I'll plug off. So today, what's happened today is the magic of this platform and this even the more conversations that I'll be having, I want to have more. Not only do I want, but I will be having more conversations like this. The thing that I said doesn't negate me from doing my homework. Of course, I'm going to do my homework. I'm going to do my research, and I'll always set up the questions. But my hope is that I don't have to use them like today, where the conversation just naturally takes shape, where you've shared your experiences, you've shared so many gems, you've shared so much knowledge from your bank. And I know that's not even like a fraction of it. I know there's so much more, but time, has come, just cutting it close. We've even gone a little bit further, but I appreciate you so much, Shaf, for coming. I appreciate you so much for offering your knowledge, offering your whiffs, and just offering yourself really to the platform today. But just before we kind of, end the segment, is there anything further that you would like to add and that sort of thing?
Seek knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Seek knowledge.
Brilliant.
And I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Another thing that I've said, I promised myself I would be doing as I close off the segment is a book recommendation. So what book has impacted or inspired your life? And perhaps if you could just give us a brief synopsis of how it's actually impacted your life.
Oof, there's so many.
Just one. We're looking for the one that's either really impacted you or has motivated you. All you have to do is choose one and give us a reason why.
MK, that is very tough because
yes.
and I will if you want I will give you
of
one.
Course. Yeah.
But different books were relevant at different stages of my journey.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, if I have to choose one, just one,
just one, and perhaps one where you've got a reason behind it to say, okay, this one inspired you in a particular way, and this is how it impacted your life and that sort of thing.
If I had to choose one and one only, it would be the book I mentioned earlier, which is E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Brilliant. E-Myth. I'm adding that to my book list. I've got a whole book list.
Yeah. And I think the reason why that is because it was able to teach me what a business is. And a business should not, a business is an entity of its own. It's an engine of its own. It should have its own legs. It's a heart. It's a heartbeat of its own. It has its own pulse. Right, it shouldn't require you to be able for it to run. You're a driver. You're a driver.
Wow.
You're a driver. However,
yeah.
If you died tomorrow,
would your
there's a
business
system
still keep going
in place for it to continue.
There you go.
Right now, that's something that have we fully achieved it at this current stage? I don't know, but we're very close.
Getting there.
But we're very close.
Yeah,
we're very close. And that's that. But I also believe that and this is just on a side note, nothing to do with the book recommendation. That is the book that I do recommend. But I do believe it's almost a necessity for people to read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad.
I've heard about that book.
You
I haven't read it
yet. Must read it.
Okay.
And if you can't, and if the way you consume knowledge is not through reading, you must listen to the audiobook. And if the way you consume knowledge is not through listening, you must go onto YouTube and type in Rich Dad Poor Dad, and there is an animated version out there. Right?
Wow.
And I'm telling you,
those options.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, and the reason why I have to give option, and this is so important, is because I have a very, very, and this is again another podcast, but I have a very, very strong opinion on the education system.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. And I believe it's very unfair. I believe the way that the kids are being forced to learn through one way.
Yes.
Through one way.
Yes.
Of learning. How unfair is that? Yeah. How unfair
it's like
is that?
They say it's like trying to get an elephant to climb a tree because the monkey.
Exactly. It's like if you get two perfectly sane children, right? One grows up to be Cristiano Ronaldo, right, and the other one grows up to be Tom Brady, right? You switch their sports around,
then they're
not going to
nothing.
be who they are.
That's a fact.
And it's very, very unfair.
Yeah.
And that's why there is the animated version out there. And this is why I do swear by YouTube and what is on there, because there are these options for you to gain knowledge in different ways. And beyond that, hey, we're moving into a time where, especially when we was at uni, there were or when we was at college, shall I say, and sixth form, the normal thing to do was to go to uni.
That's a fact,
right? And if you didn't go to uni, you were seen as
thinking, what's going to happen to your life? Yeah,
you was always seen as like a sort of a statistic, right? And I think now more and more youngsters are waking up to that and think I don't have to go to university to be able to become a success.
No.
And now we have resources like Squarespace,
YouTube,
like YouTube and
TikTok and Instagram.
But there's so many other platforms where you can learn things, like Nebula, like so many more of these other platforms. And
that's true.
And I think just first thing is discover yourself, learn yourself, discover yourself, and once you find out who you are,
everything else falls into place.
Exactly, have ultimate confidence in you, and learn the way you do, but keep learning, constantly learn. And just never see yourself as something. You're just a traveler. We're just travelers, right?
We're on a journey.
We're just on a journey.
To a stop, yeah.
We're just travelers, and we're just guiding through life, and let's just go through this life in the best way, most prosperous way, where we can touch as many people as possible.
Brother, that's a mic drop right there. Boop, 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 boop.
No, appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, MK. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, it's been your boy. My friends know me as MK. That's why Shaf's been calling me MK the whole time. Isaac Speaks. That's my alias for the podcast. Isaac Speaks.
Is it?
Yes. For the podcast.
MK for like 10
I know,
years
right?
now.
MK. It is my name as well, but I use Isaac Speaks is like the alias for the podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
okay.
it's like it's so good, bro. That's my name too.
Nice to meet you, Isaac.
I know, right? Oh, it's great. It's been your boy Isaac Speaks. Guys, Shaf, bro, you've come, you've preached, you've blessed us, you've been everything that this podcast embodies. You've been yourself, and it's great, imperfect. I say, guys, it's not going to be perfect. They're going to be quirks, they're going to be this and that's it, getting it. But that's what I want. I feel like the best content comes from when you're inspired and you're yourself. Once again, not to forget this, make sure you subscribe, click the bell to follow us. There is more great content to come. I'm working in the background. We've talked about homework today. I've got a couple of other amazing people lined up to come onto the podcast. Not only are they coming, even the platform itself, I'm going to be elevating it as well in the next coming weeks. There are more amazing things to come. And as Shaf said, it's all work that's culminated. It's work that's been happening over the last year. So I've been working at this, for almost a year now, coming up to this. But then it's now all settling now. So it's all coming out and it's all coming together nicely. I'm so excited. I'm so happy, brother. I am so thankful that you've come to bless me, my family home and everything else. And I'm so proud of you, bro. Everything that you're doing, I wish you God's blessings and I wish you the best of luck. I am going to come through to support you anytime that you need to come on this platform for us to chat. There's more to chat, right? There's the school system. There's just so much, bro. We can stay here 5 hours talking.
Maybe more.
Right. And as I said, as it gets better, I want you back. And perhaps if you've got a specific topic that you might want to discuss or anything like that I may not know about a lot, I might do my homework, as I said, and then we'll bring it, to have the discussion, or just even if we don't have a specific topic, bro, like I just want you back. That's what I'm saying. I don't care. Like with the things that we haven't touched on today, we can touch on again later on as well, just because I feel this conversation has blessed me, right? I feel so much better for it, and the people that will be listening to it will most certainly feel the same way. So thank you once again for that. But guys, it's been us. I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. Catch us in the next one. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.